This week on the Andrew Yang podcast.
Those who have capital get more money, and those who earn their living through employment don't get a lot because it's highly taxed, and as you say, a lot of the jobs are disappearing. So wealth is getting concentrated in fewer and fewer hands, and there are ways that we can change that through creative financing models. And we need to unlock all those gifts and talents that people have to offer that they currently cannot monetize.
It is my pleasure to welcome to the podcast the CEO of Baltimore Community Commons, Jenny Kassan. Welcome, Jenny.
Thank you for having me.
So, Jenny, you and I have been scheming for months how we're going to fix the economy and make it work for all people. But first, a little bit about your background. You've been a community development leader, fundraiser for really the bulk of your career at this point.
Yeah, so I went to law school.
Me too, yeah. Continue.
Yes. And like many of us, I went because I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do with my life, but I knew I wanted to do something that would benefit the world in some way. And so after law school, I went and worked at a community development nonprofit organization in Oakland, California. And one of my jobs was to work with the small businesses in this community. And I started really noticing just how much they lacked access to capital and resources compared to the typical large business in our country. So I became really committed to trying to address that issue. And I ended up practicing law as a securities lawyer, helping small businesses and entrepreneurs raise capital in a way that would allow them to stay true to their mission.
Yeah, so you did that in the Bay Area for years and years. Have helped a lot of organizations. You and I have connected more recently upon some work you're doing in Baltimore, hence Baltimore Community Commons. How did you first fall in love with Baltimore?
Yeah, so I have been working all over the country. Even though I'm based in the Bay Area, I've had clients all over the country. I've done trainings of entrepreneurs all over the country. And I used to always do a 3-day training in Oakland, and people would fly in from all over the country to learn how to raise capital. And one year we decided, let's do it someplace different from Oakland. So we found out that according to a newspaper article we read, Baltimore is the top city in the country for women entrepreneurs, which is who we were focusing on at the time. This was in 2018. So went to Baltimore and just found that it's an incredibly vibrant place in terms of community involvement, entrepreneurship. I just read an article that entrepreneurship is very high still in Baltimore. And it really just I fell in love with it. It just has a really great feeling. It's urban, but small enough where a lot of people know each other. So I happened to buy a building with some investors back in 2021, and we're working on making it into a hub for community, to grow community wealth and build the solidarity economy first locally in Baltimore, and then hopefully spread that to other communities.
Yeah, Baltimore is a fantastic place. I first started doing work there in 2013 when I was running Venture for America and made common cause with a group of local entrepreneurs. Some of them were building tech companies. Some of them were building real estate projects. But it was a really positive environment, in part because the philanthropists there were robust and benign and directed. I loved working in Baltimore. There are Venture for America fellows still in Baltimore doing fantastic work. Now, in my case, it was 2013 to 2018 or so. 17 was when I left Venture for America. So I spent 4 or 5 years right before you got there, it sounds like. Now, you and I are connecting on a time banking initiative trying to build the economy of the future. And this is going to require a little bit of background. So people who know a lot about me know that I've thought that AI is going to eat all the jobs for quite some time. And I get asked all the time. I get asked even just the other day, it's okay, so what are we going to do? Because people are now waking up to the fact that, yes, indeed, AI is going to eat a lot of jobs. And I say, look, okay, everyone knows me as a universal basic income guy, which I'm very proud to be. And I firmly believe that universal basic income is inevitable. But I happen to think that there's a whole set of needs on top of this universal basic income foundation that's going to try and induce human flourishing in various domains. So arts and creativity could be one direction. Health and wellness could be another. Education and nurturing could be another. And one of the precursors to the set of ideas of this economy of the future, or the human-centered economy, is an idea called time banking that I ran across now. It's already been about a decade since I first found time banking. How about you? Because I know you'd actually been exposed to it also for a number of years.
Yeah, so before law school, I worked for Ralph Nader in Washington, D.C. at one of his offices, and Edgar Kahn was there, who's the person who really popularized the idea of time banking.
Yeah, no more throwaway people.
Exactly.
He was RFK senior's speechwriter back in the 60s.
Yes, and it's just such an inspiring idea, just the idea that our dollar economy does not really address a lot of the things that people could be exchanging for various reasons.
Yep.
There's so many needs and so many gifts out there, and for all kinds of reasons that we could go into, it's impossible to use dollars to exchange those things. So the idea of time banking is that everyone has time and everyone has gifts that are very valuable. And of course, everyone has needs. So we use the time credit idea to compensate people when they help their neighbor with whatever it is that they're good at helping with. And then they can use those credits, to spend on their needs.
So tell me more about your exposure to Edgar Kahn at that time. Did you find out about time banking then?
Yes. So that office, it's called the Center for the Study of Responsive Law. So it's like a small office. And it's kind of where Ralph had his top advisors, and somehow I got lucky enough to be there. So I got exposed to the idea.
And what year was that?
This was in 1991. Mm-hmm.
Wow. So would you consider yourself then a time banking aficionado even since then?
Yes. And, even beyond that, ever since I was exposed to those ideas, I just was really interested in the whole idea of creative interventions in the economy, kind of like what you talk about with a human-centered economy that can address some of the shortcomings of our existing capitalist system. And so the whole idea of alternative currency, which is time banking is a part of that, was fascinating to me, and I ended up doing some projects related to alternative currency. I went to the Berkshires in Massachusetts. I went to the headquarters of that and learned about that. That's actual paper currency, and it's very much under the radar. But that movement to have alternative currencies, whether time-based or other types of alternative currencies, it's quite big throughout the world. And it's a great way to solve the problem of the people who are struggling to survive in the dollar-based or fiat currency-based economy, but have so much to offer and have needs that are unfulfilled.
Yeah, some people think of it as like a revved up barter economy when someone asks me, okay, like how would it work in real life? The examples I use are, like I'm good at certain tutoring type tasks because I ran an education company and I'm good at math. So I sit there and do that. But you know what I'm terrible at? I'm terrible at cooking. So if I tutor your kid, would I take a home cooked meal in exchange for that? I probably would. And then this third person, maybe they're good at clearing the driveway of snow or helping clear your lawn. And then a fourth person's handy so they can fix a boiler. And then a fifth person likes to give people rides. And so there are different things that you can do that would have value to a different person in the economy, but it's not practical for someone to say, look, I'm going to hire myself out in all of these ways. But you could contribute those services in return for getting a time credit that you could then use with someone else in the community and maybe even at a local business. So those examples I use, does that jive with your either experiences with Berkshires and other programs, or how do people use it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, dollars are scarce, as much as we would love to all have a lot of dollars in our pocket. I mean, a study just came out that said 60% of people in the U.S. don't have enough money to live a decent life in our country. So dollars are scarce.
I saw that study. That was very sad.
It's very scary. So we need other ways to get our needs met. And one of the benefits also is the fact that it's a way to build community. Loneliness is also at an all-time high, and lack of trust.
Yes. So check it out. Some of the jokes I tell, Jenny, it's like I say to folks, at this point, people should be getting paid to go to the gym because it makes us healthier and mentally healthier, and probably reduces healthcare costs society-wide. So right now it's funny. It's like I pay the gym. At this point, the gym should be paying me. I mean, people would probably enjoy that. But there also should be folks getting paid much more than they're getting paid right now to be like a musician in a public area or something. Because I don't know about you guys, but I find live music very enlivening and invigorating anytime I go someplace. And you know that musicians getting paid very, very little. Like pretty much anything that gets us out of the house, there should be some kind of systematic reward for because of the loneliness epidemic that is getting worse.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a health crisis. There's so much evidence that loneliness, isolation, sitting at home watching TV, eating cheap,
staring at your smartphone.
Yeah, it's not good for our health at all. So if we did compensate people for doing those kinds of activities, we would have a much healthier country and we'd save a lot of money on healthcare costs. So it's not a crazy idea.
Thank you, listeners. Please make sure to like and subscribe. And if you have any questions, send them to mailbag@andrewyang.com, and we'll do our best to answer them. Thank you. Do you order food at home? Do you live in the Northeast? Have you tried Wonder? If you haven't, you are missing out. My friend Mark Laurie has started a company that is optimized for food delivered fast, fresh, and delicious to your home. Licensed recipes from celebrity chefs. You can order from multiple restaurants in the same order, so it's ideal for families. I order from Wonder a little bit too often, honestly, but it's a game changer. So feel free to give it a try. Go to wonder.com. And if you use code Andrew104, you will get $30 off your first 2 orders, and I'll get a little bit of free food. Andrew104 at wonder.com. Give it a shot. So people come to me and say, hey, what are you going to do when AI is going to eat the jobs? And I try and explain to them, it's like, look, you need a different sort of economy. You need an economy that revolves around things that we like or care about or want to do. And if you just rely upon the current monetary economy, we're going to get left behind. I mean, we have to acknowledge that most people's time will be functionally irrelevant vis-a-vis AI. And it has nothing to do with your character, it has nothing to do with your education. I was a corporate attorney for a few months, and a lot of that work was super mind-numbing and brainless. Not like, oh, you're going to need like that person. I mean, like actually some of the most highly trained technical labor is the easiest to automate. By the way, and this does require a little bit. Like people, when I was running for president in 2020, people would think that certain things cannot be automated, and they were totally wrong about just about all of them. Like people instinctively think art as an example. It's like, look, I mean, now you're seeing it's like AI can do a lot of that stuff. Therapy, turns out AI is actually very good for certain use cases, military veterans, as an example. Like we're very, very off base as to what can and cannot be automated. And so this isn't like a character or value judgment. This is just, to me, common sense. And also the math is going to lead us to a point where more and more of us join the 60% of Americans who find dollars scarce. The question is, so in my mind, there are a few major swings to take. Number one is like maybe you should distribute dollars a little differently, because that certainly makes sense. But another thing would be maybe we can find new ways to infuse value into various interactions or communities. And I'm happy to say that Edgar Kahn has not only fans in you and me, but also Stephen Dubner, who ran an episode last fall or like that fall-ish on time banking. So if anyone wants to, they can just Google Freakonomics time banking. And I show up in that episode trying to make a similar case. And other folks who have been working on time banking also show up in that episode. And you heard that episode.
Yes, I did. And it was a pivotal moment for me because you gave an email address for folks who might be interested in getting involved. And I sent in an email, and here I am being part of your initiative.
Well, our initiative, Jenny. Geez, I mean, yeah. So for those of you, to retrace the steps, Stephen Dubner and I have a conversation at last year's Hudson Valley Ideas Fest, and he was like, "Hey, have you read No More Throwaway People by Edgar Kahn?" I was like, "Oh yeah, it's profoundly influential. Like, I totally think we should do that." And Stephen's like, "Yeah, I think at a minimum we need to be experimenting in that direction. And so I'm going to do an episode on time banking. You want to show up in it?" I was like, "Yes, I would." It's like, "Do you want to put out a call to action?" Yes, want to do that too. So we had, not to embarrass you, Jenny, but I think we had hundreds of messages for sure, and hundreds of people that wanted to be involved in the initiative in some way. And I remember getting to interview some of the folks who did want to help run this, and you rose to the top, largely because of your clearly demonstrated investment in this kind of work for a long, long time, because we all know this is like a very significant challenge. It's going to take time, passion, heart, ingenuity, dollars, resources, friends, like all these things. But you've been walking the walk really for, not to embarrass you or anything, but at this point it sounds like decades.
Yes, definitely. I was raised to see injustice and be angry about it by some amazing parents. And so I've been trying to figure out what can I do to solve that problem. And I did end up, as a securities lawyer, focusing on the world of finance, because I do think that the world of finance is a part of the solution, because that is really what causes so much of our money to be concentrated in so few hands.
Yeah.
As we all know, because we all read that book, Capital, right? Or at least read a summary of it. Those who have capital get more money, and those who earn their living through employment don't get a lot because it's highly taxed. And as you say, a lot of the jobs are disappearing. So wealth is getting concentrated in fewer and fewer hands. And there are ways that we can change that through creative financing models. But in addition to that, we also need to value the economy beyond the fiat currency, the dollars in the US. And we need to unlock all those gifts and talents that people have to offer that they currently cannot monetize.
This podcast is sponsored by Helix Sleep. Sometimes you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, your back hurts, your neck aches, you don't have the energy you want. You know what? It might be your mattress. And you know one great way to find out? Get a new one. Go to Helix Sleep and take their sleep quiz, get a personalized mattress sent to your door with a money-back guarantee. I know, people can try a mattress and then turn it around. I've been using my Helix Ultra Dawn Firm mattress for months and months, and it has been a game changer for me. And what's wild is that my kids seek it out, even though it was not made with them in mind. I'm sure if they took their sleep quiz, it would have said soft, 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 or whatever the heck kids like. Anyway, check out Helix Sleep for snoring, back pain, sleep apnea, just sleeping through the night, too hot, too cold. Helix Sleep can help. Go to helixsleep.com/yang for 20% off. That's helixsleep.com/yang for 20% off. helixsleep.com/yang. Yeah, what breaks my heart, Jenny, all the time, and this is to Edgar Kahn's book title, No More Throwaway People, is all these folks waking up and just thinking, I'm worthless, no one cares about me, I have nothing to contribute, I should just stay home and eat Cheetos and watch this program or whatever, because that's where I belong, sort of thing. And I think we've all felt some version of that, at least on some days. You're a human being, but there are more and more people that are finding themselves in that position, and you have this very out of date conversation or narrative. It's like, it must be your fault. You must not be hardworking enough or smart enough or whatever it is. And and the fundamental argument is like probably has nothing to do with those things. And I joke with folks. It's like, look, when the AI starts driving the trucks, you can take a really good, conscientious, reliable truck driver. You could take like a really challenged, mistake-prone one, and it doesn't make a difference. Like there's, like, the AI is going to be better than both of them, and so you look at them and you treat them the same. And so we're accustomed to thinking like, oh, it must be that person's fault. I mean, at a certain point, it isn't the individual's fault, and there is this despair that accompanies this. I will say too, Jenny, and this could be because of just who I am, or like I tend to think of it from like a displaced male worker perspective, maybe because I'm a guy, but also because the data shows that it's particularly bad if a man feels themselves to have no use, that women, to their credit, if you have a woman who has time on her hands, all of a sudden her likelihood of going to school shoots up, her likelihood of volunteering in the community shoots up. And then among men, none of those things happens, unfortunately. Sorry, guys. But among men, the biggest time use increases, according to studies, are video games, computer use, TV, and then also gambling, alcohol, and substance abuse. Like among unemployed men, all of those things shoot up. Unemployed men volunteer less than employed men, even though they have more time on their hands.
Yeah, that I agree. It's a huge problem. And of course, we've recognized for a long time that many very valuable activities in our economy are not compensated through the dollar economy. So it's not a big leap to recognize that there's so many activities that people already do or could do that are not going to be compensated by the dollar economy. And I've been lucky enough to get involved. There's an existing time banking network in Baltimore. So I get to go to their meetings. And
so fun.
It is so fun. And it's such a diverse group of people by race, gender, class, etc. And I see so many exchanges being made, and just also that joy in people's eyes when they realize that they can do something of value, and people recognize the value for that. And it takes time for people to get used to it. One thing I've noticed with time banking meetings is you'll go around the room and you'll say, what can you offer? And everyone's really good at talking about what they can offer. But when you ask them, what do you need? What would you like to receive? People often say, oh, nothing right now. It's kind of a muscle to learn to accept help and to not feel like you have to do everything on your own. So it does take time to build that culture. We're just so trained in this country to be so, self-sufficient, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. So it is a long game, I think, to get people comfortable with it. But I'm seeing it happen in Baltimore, and I know it's happening in other communities too.
Summer is here. It's time to look good, feel good, be active. And you know what you don't want to spend all of your time doing? Chopping ingredients and cooking. That's where Factor comes in. Factor will send you a chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meal ready in just 2 minutes. It's fast, it's healthy, it's convenient. I love Factor because it takes all the brain power out of food. I don't like to think, I just like to eat. I've tried the shredded chicken taco bowl, the herb crusted chicken, the salmon piccata. All of them are tasty and feel like you're doing your body a favor. Guilt-free eating, fast, convenient, on a budget. Get started at factormeals.com/yang50off and use code yang50off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's code yang50off at factormeals.com/yang50off for 50% off plus free shipping. factormeals.com/yang50off. There's a study that shows that if you ask someone for help, it actually deepens the relationship because people like to be needed. And by the way, I certainly probably fall into the predominant bucket of like, oh, I'm fine. Like, I don't need anything. But if you do ask someone for something, you'll actually find that you become closer to them. And the preconception is like, oh, if I ask you for something, I'm going to seem needy and you're not going to like me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or notice how you feel when someone asks you. For example, if someone says, hey, I'm looking for a job, would you spend half an hour brainstorming with me about what I should emphasize in the interview? Doesn't it feel good and fun to do that? I think you just notice in yourself how it feels. And of course, with time banking, it creates a structure. So I'm, getting ready to move to Baltimore, and I know I'm going to need help with moving stuff. And normally I would never feel comfortable asking people to help. But because I'm part of the time banking network. Now you have this army
of people being like, hey guys, Jenny has a truck that needs to get unloaded.
And they can say no if they don't want to do it. There's, I don't have to worry about feeling guilty. If they want to do it, they'll do it and they'll earn a time credit. And if they don't, they'll say no.
Yes, that too. You are allowed to say no. So let's give people something of a utopian vision to look forward to. So the three examples I use, which I listed earlier in this convo, were arts and creativity, health and wellness, and education and nurturing. But I'm sure that there are a bunch of other things that fall outside of those buckets. I wonder where moving would fall in. It does remind me of we were going around this group of people, and there was a very big guy who was like 6'7", and then someone asked him, what's your least favorite thing about being really big? And he was like, people ask me to help them move a lot. And then literally as if on cue, someone yelled from the next room, it's like, hey Dave, can you help us move this piece of furniture? And he's like, coming. But I mean, he was very, very strong, that guy. So in the examples that you've seen, are there other activities that spring to mind? I mean, genuinely, moving doesn't fall into one of my three categories.
Yeah. There's lots of practical stuff like transportation. There's a guy who's going to fix someone's toilet from the last meeting. But another thing that we're working on with our time banking network is helping nonprofits get more people involved by allowing the nonprofit to use time credits to compensate volunteers and compensate people who come to meetings. So we just had an event at with Native American Lifelines in Baltimore, and they already have a lot of people that get very involved. But wouldn't it be nice if those people could be compensated with time credits?
That is my dream, Jenny. That's so close to what I was suggesting, which is imagine going to the nonprofit meeting and volunteering and then getting this time credit and then turning around and using it to have your neighbor help you out with something. I mean, that's what's going to make the world / Baltimore / each community go around.
Exactly. Yeah, there's so many nonprofits that struggle to get people involved, and this is a tool that they could use.
That is my dream. Or even another one of my dreams, which is when I talked about you going out to some gathering or festival, and then some people will be like, oh, I'm going to go to this thing. It's like, yeah, we'll give you this time credit if you show up. I'll be like, oh, okay. And then they'll go, and then they'll find that they enjoy it. And they might even not admit it, but then they give this time credit and they go use it in various ways. That's to me, it's clear as day. I don't know if this is clear to anyone else, but it's clear as day that we have this monetary system that is very powerfully reinforcing certain actions and behaviors, and all of this energy is going towards it. And then all of these things we actually value are getting ignored and getting the vitality sucked out of them. And when you talk about people doing work that's not recognized in the monetary system, the example I used on the campaign trail all the time was my wife, Evelyn, was at home with our son who's autistic. And I asked crowds, how much does the market value her work at? And they would think about it, and someone would say 0. And it's like, yeah, that kid's a 0, even though we know that's totally messed up, and that her work is among some of the most valuable and productive work that anyone can do, but the market gives that a 0. I can see very, very clearly. As a matter of fact, I mean, you went to Yale Law School, which I didn't get into, but I mean, who does? But you see the intellectual products of our society getting funneled towards particular industries and roles. And I joke in my book, The War on Normal People. It's almost like we pay people more if they can get more and more inorganic. When you think about financiers and management consultants, they become kind of these market actors and efficiency mavens, and they check their personalities at the door very often. and then you have the things that people want to do natively, which would be, I'm just going to, photography, arts, teaching, music, like whatever, like, and then you don't pay that at all. And then if someone tells their parent that that's what they want to do, then they, get punished or discouraged. Not like I'm Asian or anything. So this podcast is sponsored by ExpressVPN. How did you choose which internet service provider to use? The sad thing is, most of us didn't have much of a choice because ISPs operate a lot like monopolies in the regions that they serve. They then use this monopoly position to take advantage of customers, and yes, they even sell your data, your activities to advertisers and big tech companies, and you don't see a dime. That's why I protect my internet surfing and devices with ExpressVPN. When you use ExpressVPN, it's like a magic portal to a perfectly safe and anonymous internet. And don't take my word for it. This is the #1 VPN service according to CNET. It's used by major companies all over the world. So stop handing over your personal data to ISPs and other tech companies who then mine your activity and sell off your information. Protect yourself with a VPN I trust to keep my privacy online. Visit expressvpn.com/yang. That's expressvpn.com/yang to get 3 extra months free. Go to expressvpn.com/yang right now to learn more. Meanwhile, a lot of law school grads are going to find their jobs very challenged by AI.
Yeah, when I started law school, they did a survey about, what people wanted to do, and like a huge majority wanted to do something to give back to the world, some kind of public interest job.
Sure.
But by the end of law school, I'd say probably about 90 to 95% ended up going to work at big corporate law firms. And there's many reasons for that, but one of them is the lure of the huge amount of money. And, the excuse of like, oh, I have all these student loans, which, by the way, we did have loan forgiveness programs. So that really wasn't a good excuse. But it's just, the recruiters come to the campus. It's so incredibly, hard to resist for most people. So now they're miserable and not doing a lot of good for the world. In fact, being lawyers for people who are doing a lot of harm in our world.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably what pays the best in most of these situations. By the way, I wrote a book on that topic called Smart People Should Build Things, and it goes through why a lot of top students get recruited into various fields, and a lot of it is the firms show up and they figured out, hey, if I can just siphon off, graduates from these places, then I can get the whippersnappers, and then I can turn around and charge other people for access to the whippersnappers. It's a weird time, Jenny, because I'm very confident that management consulting is going to shrink as a result of AI, and so, like the whippersnappers will be channeled elsewhere, hopefully to something good and positive. You've made me think a bit about transportation and moving as like a new vertical, but like it's not quite as elevated seeming as these others. So the name of the organization in Baltimore that's doing multiple things. So it has this building you're talking about. It's trying to help these entrepreneurs, but it's also going to be helping establish time banking in Baltimore as an emblem, and we'll try and grow it from there. But it's BaltimoreCommunityCommons.org?
Yes, exactly. Yes, that just went live.
Well, fantastic. I'll be making a donation to, this is just the way my brain works, Jenny. I apologize, but I just want to abbreviate it to BCC now, but the BaltimoreCommunityCommons.org. And as we help establish what the economy could and should look like, Stephen Dubner and Freakonomics is going to return the spotlight and to help monitor it, and we'll be monitoring it. I'm so glad that someone like you is helping lead the way and walking the walk on the ground in Baltimore, and excited to help. And I'm sure a lot of people who are listening to this are very excited about this vision of a human-centered economy actually planting a stake in the great city of Baltimore. If someone wants to reach out to you, how can they best do so?
Just go to that website, BaltimoreCommunityCommons.org, and we have contact information there.
All right, you heard it here first. People who want to see the human-centered community actually take shape, take root, We've got a godfather with a huge megaphone in the form of Stephen Dubner. We've got yours truly. We've got Jenny. And maybe we've got you. Go to baltimorecommunitycommons.org. Drop her a line. Feel free to make a donation. I'll be doing so. And let's see what we can get done in Charm City.
Yes, thank you.